She's somewhere else, and I don't know how you get the energy because you're a teacher as well, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so she's a busy gal and a great musician, and we're just so honored to have you here. So thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Reverend Charlotte. I'm so glad to be back here. I was running a little late and I was all frazzled, and there's just a wall of love coming at me, and I thank you so much for that. That's such a nice place to be. So I'll do a song that's on my new CD. It's kind of, I'm really proud of it. This song has bagpipes and Irish tin whistle on it, so I gotta plug that. But this is about one of my happiest of happy places. It's about Scotland. But it doesn't mention the word Scotland at all. So I'll have to clarify.
Packing my bags and gonna leave
play for you a brand new song that I've only performed maybe a couple of times because I just wrote it. But I've been really thinking a lot lately about forgiveness and what that really means. Because when you have someone who's harmed you, you're bonded to them until you forgive them. And really it's forgiving yourself for getting into that relationship, or gosh, I thought I was doing something nice, I thought I was helping, or I thought that was the love of my life, or I trusted them, or whatever it is, you have to forgive yourself. And that's what this is about. It's called Curse the Rain.
No. Oh. Okay, so we've just experienced so much beauty and love already this morning, and through music and prayer, connection. Together, we are one heart, one spirit, choosing to live from the greatest degree of love in all we do, and we give thanks, for we are so blessed. Together, we give thanks for the safety and the rescue of those beautiful children in Thailand. And we ask that all the rest of the kids and the rescuers be protected through this journey. You are divine, you are holy, and you are whole. And in this truth of who you are, only love exists. Everything unlike love melts away. And this light that resonates and radiates from you is a beacon of love, peace, and healing in our world. Envision our collective heart sending blessings, light, love, forgiveness, and peace to every being on this planet. Peace and love prevail on earth. And so it is. Namaste. Good morning and welcome to the Namaste Center, and I'm Charlotte McGinnis and thrilled to be with you guys here today. And we just had a very heartfelt, beautiful message from Reggie, and really just thank you so much for being so willing to share so open and honestly. You blessed all of us. So Carol over here, her daddy was a Methodist preacher, and a couple of weeks ago she had mentioned to me that one thing he was a master at, and he had a big church, was keeping his talks, 7 minutes?
7 minutes.
And she said,
What's that?
is that a hint? But I think there's mastery there. I do. I think that, if you can get the message across in that, awesome. And so I'm going to do that for you guys today. That's my attempt. So I'm going to talk really fast. Anyway, last week being the 4th of July, Declaration of Independence, favorite line, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Reggie shared that beautiful story. It went from the depths of despair to now a life with a partner he adores and people who love him and support him. So there is happiness on the horizon for all of us. And so how can we be happy? What the heck is happiness? That's really the number one desire of every being on this planet, is to be happy. Well, in psychology, happiness is a mental or emotional state of well-being which can be defined by positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. Well, I love this because this quote, has anyone, I read a quote and I loved it. It was from a Baptist minister from the mid-1850s from London. His name was Charles Spurgeon. And has anyone heard of him? Well, there, Tim. I did a little bit of reading and research about him, and he's a very interesting man. But I love this quote because it says, "Man was not originally made to mourn. He was made to rejoice. The Garden of Eden was his place of happy abode, and as long as he continued in obedience to God, nothing grew in that garden that would cause him sorrow." And so this fellow back in the 1850s, picture it, 10,000 people he would have come listen to him speak. I mean, that's fascinating to me. And what really this was, we were made to be happy. The Garden of Eden metaphorically represents non-duality, heaven. And as the Course in Miracles says, that this tiny mad idea or some thought occurred, what would it be like to be separate from each other, separate from source, experience duality? And poof, we ate the lie of the serpent, or believed in the lies of the serpent, and got tempted with that bite of the apple, and there you have it. So now we're living in duality. But in truth, we never, in the Course in Miracles, it says in truth, we never, it says that in the book of Genesis, it refers to a deep sleep falling upon Adam, and there's no reference to his ever waking up. So this whole experience, so we're still in this dream of separation, okay? So we are in that pre-separation condition, dreaming that we're separate and in a world of duality. So what do? Well, happiness. There's lots of paths to happiness, but as long as we think that it lives outside of ourselves and it's based on conditions, you're never going to be happy. Just not. There's one way to be happy, and that is another lesson from A Course in Miracles that talks about the rules of decision. And it says, "Today I will decide nothing for myself. I will allow the Holy Spirit to decide everything for me." Because the Holy Spirit's plan is for us to be happy, to be connected, to be joyful, to be awake, and not be caught up in the needs of illusion to make me happy. Oh, I desire this, I want that, and when I get this, that, and whatever, I'm going to be happy. So, full surrender is the key to happiness. A couple of practical things we can recognize. Emerson said, "For every minute we're angry, we lose 60 seconds of happiness." Happy cells are healthy cells. When we're angry, got a push on our face and whatever, smiling, if you just smile and look up, that's not a very motivating, uplifting, but when you're smiling and looking up, you feel better. When you're crossing your arms and you're like, scowling, that's not a real uplifting vibe. The Course in Miracles talks about the happy learner, and it says the Holy Spirit really needs happy learners. And the happy learners are those of us who choose to walk and abide with the laws of God, of love, peace, connectedness, not judgment, defense, and attack, and blame. So God is everywhere, and His Son is with Him in everything. So when we're in that moment of awareness, it says, can we sing the dirge of sorrow when this is true? If I'm sorry, if I'm sorrowful, if I'm sad, if I'm angry, it's total ego. I've learned, and yes, this week I spent home very quiet, reflective. Ellen's in Florida. I'm very happy, but not like happy, but just very content. I didn't need to be doing this, doing that, picking up the phone. I'm so used to being busy that just to be was a gift, and that was a happy gift for me, just to be. So sometimes we get caught up in that wheel. Ed and I had that talk earlier this week. You don't have to keep that wheel spinning, to just take some time alone. And so the Holy Spirit is going to meet us where we are. We just have to be willing to let go and surrender. Now, I love this quote from the Course in Miracles because I'm a pretty simple-minded person. I'm not one of these who analyzes. The Course says spirit analyzes, ego analyzes, spirit accepts. I don't have to figure things out and go into past lifetimes and this and that. Sometimes it can be useful, but pretty simple spirituality. If I'm at peace, if I'm happy, if I'm content, I'm plugged into Source. If I'm angry, anxious, afraid, depressed, I'm plugged into ego, the identity that's not who I am. My identity is not being a photographer, right, Reggie? My identity is I'm a child of God, and that's the truth. So, the simple quote, how cool is this? Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. Because, it's, I got to read 14 more books and go to 18 more seminars, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And then I got to analyze and figure it out, when really, just let it be, let it be. Plug into love, plug into Source. That's where happiness lies. The Holy Spirit will always lead us to happiness. We just have to have faith and trust and confidence in that. Lasting happiness is of our soul. It's who we are. Happiness, it's that pre-separation condition. We never left the kingdom. We're just believing that this dream is our reality, and it's not. Only love is real. And when we're in love, we're happy. If we don't choose to be happy, no one can make us happy. And if we choose to be happy, no one can make us unhappy. I'm responsible for my happiness, period. I think it's, practical in this dream to work within the framework of where we are. So I asked Spirit to guide me, lead me, and direct me. I was led to be still this week. I'm sometimes led to go to a funny movie. 11:30 Friday night of all things. I was led to, seriously, because I've seen it 12 times, to watch Mamma Mia again. And I was singing until 1:30 in the morning, Mamma Mia. But it was an uplifting thing, So C.S. Lewis, who I love, he says, it's a Christian duty for everyone to be as happy as he can. And I think that what he's saying there is, as Christed beings, it's our duty to be as happy as we can, because that's our true nature. Our true nature is that contentment, that peace, that joy that is beyond anything that this world can give us. But we have to practice and let go. The elimination diet, It's not letting go of, one of them is letting go of sugar and caffeine and what have you. But this one says remove anger, regret, worry, resentment, guilt, and blame, and watch your health and life improve. We can't afford the luxury of negative thoughts, period. I'm pretty vigilant about this, and yes, I go through my peaks and valleys, but I know that it's not difficult. Simplicity is not easy for twisted minds, but we need to just let go, surrender, because happiness is possible. It's our birthright and it's our nature. And I'm going to close with a quote from John Lennon. And I think this is so appropriate. And this is so appropriate because our world does not reinforce what I'm speaking of here today. The world keeps tempting us with, oh, this will make you happy, this will do it, this will make you content, blah, blah, blah. And seek but do not find. But John says, when I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. And how perfect is that? Don't worry, be happy.
It's on my new CD called Miles and Miles. I have both CDs. The first one, Carolina Blonde, was totally produced by Terry. I mean, he did everything on it except for my singing and piano. He did everything. The second one, everything was produced by Chris Rosser except this song, which was mostly produced by Terry before he kind of handed me off to Chris to do some of the other more complicated parts of the cello. So anyway, this is written around the time I turned 40, which was really scary until it just wasn't. It goes along with what Charlotte was saying. All of a sudden it was like, I'm 40. I have this weird unconventional life and I'm here. Oh my God. So that's what it turned into, and that's when I wrote this song. It's called The Back Road.
Years roll back the curtain apart.
reach the middle, find the star.